Hello. This is Dan back with another episode of Sounds of Solidarity. Thank you so much for joining us. As folks remember, this series is focused on the intersection of spirituality, healing, and movement work, community organizing work, all under the Finding Our Way Home grant program of Episcopal City Mission, where we work with community organizers and folks doing power building work to help them, support them to bring together power building work, movement building work, and work that is connected to healing and spiritual practice. I am incredibly excited to introduce my good friend and colleague, Minnie McMahon. Minnie is the program director for the Greater Boston Community Land Trust Network. We've been working very close with the Land Trust Network and helping them develop healing practices across the entire network. It's been very meaningful to myself and Neha. And so we're very excited to hear a little bit from Minnie. So we'll start just by understanding how Minnie has come into this work, and then we'll hear a little bit about how the Land Trust Network is developing spiritual and healing practices and how that's been supportive to their work. So thanks, Minnie, if you want to start by just introducing yourself and a little bit about your journey into land trust work and social justice work.
Great. Thanks, Dan. Thanks for having me. So I'm Minnie. My current role is supporting the work of the Greater Boston CLT Network, as you mentioned, which I'm really excited about because I believe in and have always been interested in how can human beings manage our resources, manage our relationships, what is the society we're trying to build together. We've built what exists, which means we can build other things too. And the community land trust world is it's a very sort of concrete place to be experimenting and working and collaborating in an effort to bring about, for me, healthier, happier, thriving, just neighborhoods, societies, the world. Background wise, I think I was a curious kid who was always like, why does this thing work the way it works? How did that building get built? Why does that person not have a house? Like a lot of kids, right? These are sort of like childlike questions that should also be adult questions. And so I just remember always sort of having an orientation towards like the social and why are things as they are. And I'm lucky to be able to spend a lot of my time working with these questions.
Thanks so much. And I forgot in my introduction that Minnie is also a new member of the Episcopal City Mission Board. So we're just appreciative of your leadership, Minnie, in so many different facets and so many different connections. And again, as folks who know ECM know, we've cared a lot about affordable housing and housing justice and land trust. So in addition to what we'll talk about next with the spirituality work, just your work in general has been so meaningful to us. And obviously we've been connected to a lot of the land trust in your network and have seen them flourish and have seen the ways that you've supported them. And so we're really grateful to be in relationship with you and the Land Trust Network. And so for today, I'm curious to hear more about the ways that the Land Trust Network has integrated healing or spiritual practice. Again, something that's very exciting to us is that unlike most of the grantee projects for Finding Our Way Home, which are organizational in nature, the Land Trust Network, as is clear from the name, is network-wide in nature. So I know that you've not only provided support for individual land trusts, but you've also sort of thought about how can the Land Trust Network as a whole bring certain practices to bear. And so you've been such a great partner in this work. And so anything you would want to share about your journey with Finding Our Way Home, we'd love to hear about.
Yeah, great. Well, thanks. I, as a land trust network, as this, like you said, we're not just one organization that's working together and trying to use these funds to support culture, education, healing, growth. Um, we're trying to we don't use the word spirituality a whole lot in our conversations, as you and I have talked about, Dan. But yeah, how are we? Our work is oriented around, I think, sort of like, I want to use the word like alternative, right? Like alternative economics, alternative ownership structures, alternative governance, power building, alternative say so, uh, alternative to, right, the mainstream structures, but also very human. So it's not really alternative to human life, but alternative to the mainstream. Um, so and we're nonprofits. These organizations are nonprofits, and we exist in this world, in this mainstream world, and so we've been encouraged by this Finding Our Way Home grant, and by you and Neha and ECM. Um, I think to continue to try to push ourselves around really practicing alternatives, right? It's so easy in in a business, in a nonprofit, anywhere, to say, "Oh, we're working on XYZ, we're making great progress." But how are we working? In what ways are the ways that we're working supporting what we're trying to build in the world? And I think, um, the more that I know this for myself, the more that I learn, the more that I'm sort of broken open and able to connect with others and myself, the more free I am to even think new thoughts, or think old thoughts, or recover ancient sensibilities, with in partnership and relationship. And I think the better, more able we are to do that together, and then and that helps us, right? That helps our work, that helps us on an individual level, it helps us on a sort of productive level, and helps us be, um, on track with, I think, our goals. So more concretely, we've used funds to, we've sort of split up, we have goals around some personal spending. So we actually feel very strongly, and that, people need to step away sometime, and do personal, have some space to get out, to go in, to get into the woods, whatever. So we've been very happy to support some individuals with a little retreat space and time. We've been able to support folks with some mental health support, um, obviously external to us. We've, been able to, we brought in some, Ebony Le Pen, who did a sound healing workshop and sound bath with us at our community land trust convening in December. So that was a much more that was a collective experience, and really beautiful. We had elders, we had young people, we had everybody in between, lying on the floor, sitting up, checking their phones. But in any case, like, just together, sharing space, feeling the vibrations, hearing the noise, and being held, by Ebony and just by the group. So we have goals, and have done some spending at the sort of individual level, at the collective network level, and then we're also, divvying up some of our funds to individual CLTs that are doing, sort of collective healing work within their CLTs as well.
Well, thank you so much, Minnie. And obviously, I've been able to witness some of this, and been in conversation with you, and me and Neha visited the Land Trust Network, in January, and it's all been so meaningful to see. And I loved your framing of practicing alternatives. I'm gonna remember that and share that. I think that's like a really interesting way to think about how to bring like the personal transformation and the alternative building together. So that's really beautiful. Well, great. Well, I just want to thank you. Thanks so much, Minnie, for sharing your wisdom with the Sounds of Solidarity, and for being such a good partner with ECM in so many ways. And thank you all for watching. Be well.